So for this episode, we are going to finally be redoing our gold farm storage area. It is one of the only places that we actually never had a full perimeter at, mainly because it was in an ocean, and not only just an ocean, a warm or a frozen ocean, as well as a deep warm ocean. So yeah, it was not the best location, especially to make a perimeter in. And as you can see, we're getting to the layer of absolute pain, even in 117 with all the lava ravines. And this is actually a majority of the obsidian destroyed, beforehand. There was some up layers, of course, but now we're getting to the absolute pain, and we have to leave it all to the end because in situations like this, if we go to mine this obsidian, it's just gonna florm back again exactly where it was. So there's no point in doing it. You basically gotta wait until it's all the way down. And so we got the stray floaters here sometimes too, which we have to get rid of. And this looks like it was regen somehow, but it should be okay. We should be able to just send it back off and it clear it out. Benefit of AND-gate road eaters, you don't gotta watch out for situations like this all the time. You can just sit here and let it wait. So we're gonna power this thing back. Hopefully, observer should get updated in the wrong time. Good news there. So yeah, this is the perimeter underway. We're, what was it, like Y10 or something, Y13 we're at. So not too far left to go, but we're gonna still have like an hour or two of mining obsidian here. So normally probably take about like 30 minutes or so to get to the bedrock. Now it's gonna take about 2 and a bit hours, depending on the people who help out with this. I know Brubeck definitely will, but as far as I know, that's everybody that's on right now. So got that going. Obviously, obsidian mining is not the most fun thing to do, but yes, this is where the gold used to be. This is where the barter area, which is going to be, we're going to be basically redoing everything here. We're not going to be doing a barter perimeter. It's going to be the same situation. We're going to try to do a new barter area that's all in the nether. So that way we don't get to worry about cross dimension, no chunk loaded, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of what we're going to be aiming for this project, because everything else that we have is all dual dimension that has its own overworld processing perimeter, like the Hoglin. For example, like the magma here, we have the Blaze overworld also has that. The Hoglin has it, so it only makes sense to go back to the earliest one we ever did, basically, if you exclude Hoglin. The gold was one of our first that we should have definitely done this for. The only reason it was put off was because, like I said, the location, but with the help of the 12 wide and 3 wide transfers from the Chronos Discord, we are now able to do this in a somewhat easier way. I mean, it's still kind of painful because of block shields and things like that, but we're able to make it work and get it done in the end. So, 4 more layers here, and we'll be mining obsidian for an hour or so. But then, yeah, we'll be getting this area all cleared out. We can actually move on to the decoration and the new processing chamber, storage, all that good stuff. And now with the use of the AutoCrafter in vanilla, obviously we're still playing 117, but you guys could also do something very similar to this and include a bunch of AutoCrafting to get your regular gold from the small amount to all the way to ingots, all the way up to gold blocks, which is what we had before. We had the option to store gold ingots as well as gold blocks, and we pretty much always use the gold blocks to begin with because it's less storage we need to use. And most of the time, like for here, we're going to be using it for decoration as well. So I'll get back to AFK in this, and then put a couple more layers, get the obsidian mined out, and we'll be back once we start to work on the decoration. Alright, 9-hour stream later, and we have the full floor in, we have the wall being built as well, and we even have a roof glass placer up there because of the fact we are in a snowy biome. We kind of do need it, so this is definitely worth it, and it's also benefit. It's barely noticeable because we don't need mob spawning. It's not going to affect anything inside of this perimeter besides stopping snow from forming inside of this area. So yeah, this took about 2 hours or so, an hour or so with the floor with Rubik's help to get the floor fully in, and it looks absolutely amazing. Want to do it somewhat different than what we had for the Blaze overworld over here. So kind of same sort of style, but different patterns, of course, and different blocks. You can see we even have raw gold in the floor as well, just to give it that extra bit of a yellow pop. And the walls here being automatically printed thanks to Elyrio's version 2 of their gravity block placer. This has a different pattern that we've never used before, and I think it works really well with this sort of style because of just the 2 colors, so just being the black and yellow. Fits very, very well with this and gives it a unique look to all of the other ones that we have printed so far. That's going all the way across here. And then we got to start working on the collection in the center here. We might change the storage up a little bit, kind of depends on the style we want to go with. Right now, it's just 2 bulk slices, but we might change it to something different like we have with the slime, just modified in a bit of a way to make it easier to get the items out of what's over there. But yeah, everything is going well here. Got the redstone block too, that'll hopefully stop this spot. That way we're not going extra blocks over. But we should be okay. I mean, it's just glass. At the end of the day, we can get it back very, very easily. This placer here is a 5 game tick roof placer by Bivella Glowsquid. So it's not the 4 game ticks, but still 5 game ticks. 4 blocks per second is still plenty fast. It'll be done in about 4 hours for a full perimeter length here. Very easy to make. Solving that time lapse. I was able to make this full thing in 10 minutes, which is pretty ridiculous, to say the least. But yeah, everything moves forward once it reaches push limit. Got the guy in a minecart just for reliability. That's not in the original schematic, but we did the push limit to make that work. It goes all the way down, and then this will go and move itself 1 forward, just like your regular piston placers or floor placers, just for the roof. That's all the main difference here, is that's what it's for. We'll have to place 2 blocks manually, but that'll be like that, so pretty easy to do there. And now we got everything else going for us, so I'm going to get back to building the center storage or collection for the most part right now. We'll see about the storage. We're going to make a 1x1 portal, but I don't want to do any suppression while this stuff is running. So we'll be back once we have some more updates on this chamber. If not, it's fully done. Alright, so we're back here. The full storage is built up with the display that we were talking about. Unfortunately, there's nothing encoded for 0, which isn't really a big deal, because it's going to take quite a while to even move anywhere in 0. It's fine to not have anything. We have the M there, which is plenty more than we can ask for. So we have 2 separate wings here, and the reason for that is because we didn't want to craft the gold ingots into gold blocks. So we kept those in the ingot form. So we have 2 different loaders for those to store those. That's mainly due to that it'll just be easier to move those ones over to the barter area and keep the gold blocks for like decoration purposes. Of course, with the mass crafter, we could very easily craft the gold blocks down into ingots if we needed to, which I will probably include at the barter station just to, you know, be safe and cover all bases in case we needed to do that. But considering you get the gold ingots faster than you get the gold blocks, because obviously it takes a lot more packed in to get the gold blocks rather than just keeping the gold ingots that you get from the looting, it's really not that big of a deal. We'll probably have more than those than gold blocks anyway. Yeah, so the full thing is built up here, and you can see we're actually on the new server, and it's running under 30 MSBT, which is just absolutely crazy for 1 million gold nuggets per hour. It's kind of crazy that this new server can handle this amount of entities. That's much better than our old server. Yeah, overall, love how this area turned out, of course, with the walls and the floor. Then we have the processing chamber, which actually is the functionality of this perimeter and what gives us all of the stuff we need in here. So you can see here, we kind of have these items do a weird loop. That's mainly just to get them aligned properly against the Sappheriros here. That way they can travel on top of 2 hoppers at a single time, which allowed us to collect a heck of a lot more gold nuggets very quickly. This thing produces so many items. Item lifetime is very important here. We didn't take this in consideration for our old processing chamber, and it had a very long lifetime because of all the swords and, you know, all the other stuff. We have the mob head data pack, of course, too. So because of that, you get a lot more entities than you would actually have normally. But all the armor, all the swords, they don't stack. So destroying those first is the biggest priority. The gold and the rotten flesh really don't have too much of an effect because they stack together. But obviously, it's good to have something that can handle everything very, very quickly, which this accomplishes, because just in this short span right here from these hoppers, all the glass panes, those are all the gold nugget sorters with the crafters, which can handle up to 1 million per hour, which of course we can produce a little bit less than that, like 900,000 per hour. But if you take all the gold ingots you get and craft those down into gold nuggets, you do get that over 1 million total gold per hour, which is where that amount comes from. So these ones, instead of feeding directly into a shulker box loader, these things are AutoCrafters, which of course you can now do in 1.21. Just a different sort of style of AutoCrafter. What this does is we just read the signal strength from the actual crafting table itself, and we don't need to power the crafting table. All we need to do is keep this bottom hopper locked until this is reaching signal strength 15, which this comparator does actually detect based off of this redstone here. We don't want this to be a redstone block, just mainly because of other stuff, so put the dust on top of it. That way that comparator still reads signal strength 15 going into it. And then that obviously powers this sticky piston, which extends that redstone block, unlocking this repeater and this repeater, which allows the crafted ingot to flow through, which then directly input into a other AutoCrafter that is responsible for crafting the gold blocks. Same concept. It's pretty much the same exact thing, just we have the area a bit more over because we have a lot of empty space now, because we have all these free sides of the crafting table, because it's only one hopper into one. We very easily could have probably like done a couple less crafters, but because of the speed and simplicity, it's a lot easier to just throw them all into one beneath each other, making this system a heck of a lot easier. And then what we do at the bottom here is we just snake them all to a single shulker box loader here, which you can see we get a lot of gold blocks. This is just from testing, getting it all ready with Rubik, making sure everything was all working for this clip, which it does. We have 2 of these gold block shulker box loaders here, which we have almost half a shulker box there and almost a full shulker box here. So you can see that we're not using the full capacity of this at all times, but you can definitely tell we are using all of the crafters based off this signal strength here. You can tell that those filters are actually above emptying items, so we are actually using it. It's just not full speed. So yeah, Rubik's Xing that out. We get about 2 shulkers or a shulker box and a half in about 10 to 15 minutes of gold blocks, which is pretty crazy considering that this right here is 9 shulker boxes of gold ingots, which then equates to 81 shulker boxes of gold nuggets in that time. It is absolutely crazy, but because of this, we can use shulker boxes very, very leniently. We only have 2 shulker box loaders here, like I said, only the 2 back here for the gold ingots, so we only have 4 shulker box loaders in this entire system. Compared to the amount of shulker box loaders you would need, it's probably cut in about a 10th. So you probably need about 40 shulker box loaders to be able to handle these rates of this with the sorter and all that kind of stuff attached to it. With this, we get it done with just 4. 2 technically, if we crafted these into gold blocks, we could get away with just 2 shulker box loaders, which is absolutely crazy, and why auto crafting is one of the best things for your farm outputs for sure. So yeah, all that leads up to here. We have two different water streams, of course. The one on the left is responsible for the gold ingots, which we have one box here. I think the second box is about, it should be about filled right now. A little bit close there. The other one's about filled as well. So we're going to have about 3 shulker boxes of gold already in there. And of course, we're still working on our very first shulker box of gold blocks, which will make its way up very, very soon. We have some squid, of course, because we are in an ocean. Those will spawn. We have dolphins over here too, but they actually don't interfere with anything. If anything, they'll keep the item from despawning if they do interact with it, which is fine. As long as it eventually gets over here, that's all we really care about. And we could, of course, stop this with like a squid switch if we really needed to, or just have the player somewhat close proximity to it. That way they can't spawn. But they seem to be okay. We're not pushing any other like actual mobs up, so there shouldn't actually interfere with anything. But this waterfall of, we'll get very close there, so I'm going to keep this clip going. But yeah, this killing chamber by Mechanus is still good to this day. And just seeing this many piglin, you can see the jump count on the mobs killed every single time. So every 12 game ticks, that's going up pretty much 100 at this point, like 50 to 100 every second. So about 100 piglin per second, which is just absolutely crazy. And you can see all the crafters work in there. So we are about to get a full shulker box here, but I did forget that it is actually got a buffer 1 box in this, which I really don't care too much about. We could, of course, just add another signal to power this to pulse that out, but it's honestly not that big of a deal. So we're going to actually see this break right here. Now we got a full shulker box right there, so the next time we get an extra box, it will then dispense that one out. So the only downside to this is that the first box obviously takes longer technically with these loaders by Command Leo, but they're very simple, and we don't need anything more than this. They're very simple 1x loaders, which can handle everything. We could have probably condensed this down into a single 2x loader if we really wanted to, but you know, 2 shulker box loaders is already plenty less than we would actually need, and we have the shulker box input, which will last us a very long time. This is now giving me the motivation to go definitely redo the barter area, so we're going to do that off to finish this episode. Should be pretty quick. Hardest part will be getting all the piglins, but we can get the piglin catcher to do that very, very easily, so we'll do that. We'll be back once that's fully done, and we can show that off for you guys to see how we get all of our quartz and all that kind of stuff for this world. Alright, so the full barter thing is built up. We're in the process of getting the piglins. I surprisingly have developed a way that is not very difficult to do. Get these piglins in. No minecarts, no entities, nothing. That's a one-way system here. You can see the vines, because all mobs start to go up, they cannot go out after this, even though they can technically. But the gate here that's included by the tutorial by Carrie, which is the creator of this barter area, they have to be in vines, but they are supported by this gate for right now. Until we push them over, this is actually going to be a stair where the slab is. To push them over, that way they're on top of this slab, but they will drop their items down there. This will be a string to detect the items fallen, of course. But yeah, because of this system right here, I can do this very, very easily. We'll have to, of course, swap that slab out, which I should be able to just push it in from the other side. Way they should still be in there, and then they can move back a little bit into this if they need to, which I'm hoping is okay. But ideally they wouldn't move at all. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think they would be able to, but we'll have to see, because they couldn't get up with the stair there. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Big spawning pad. We have the carpets to stop the hoglins from spawning. I'm gonna go over here. They're gonna aggro to me. The bow guys aren't the best, but they will walk right in there. And then yeah, rinse and repeat basically. Still get the zombified piglin, which is fine. One sword dude, very, very easy to move. Close this just to be sure we get no other ones in there. Since we are using the name tags to keep track of how many we have, we also have a way to do this indefinitely in terms of keeping track. If we lose one that had the gold, this guy's not pathfinding in. So we'll get another one, get you, and then we'll get this one over here. The sword guys are usually the ones that don't follow everything correctly 100% of the time. The bow guys, since they try to pathfind differently, they are the ones that usually will push everybody in here. You can see the bow guys in the back, they'll push them all in for the most part. Of course, now they're gonna fight each other because they want to go opposite ways, but there we go. And then, yeah, so they're all in there. If I just do this real quick, I mean, you can keep track because we need 4 stacks of them. If I do this, got 114 there. That will only highlight the ones that are named Goldie with this command right here. So if you had it, whatever your name tag is, you can just change this field right here, and that way you can always keep track. Of course, you got to have perms to do this, but this is just telling me the amount and just giving up for a quick second. I think it's okay. Some people might not, but for me, this is perfectly fine. So we got 14 more to get 128, so halfway there. And yeah, so this, once you get a bunch of them, it's not really great. You're going to want to fly away and despawn them, and make your way back over. I think this guy actually has an item in his hand, which is why he's not respawning. Yep. Get rid of that arrow. So we make our way back over now. Get some couple more spawn in there. And we'll just rinse and repeat the process. So yeah, so we'll be doing for the next little bit until we get all these in there. Hopefully this goes a bit faster, but you know, put a movie on, work on this, Twitch stream, anything like that, and we'll be good to go. So as long as they're all in, that's all that I really care about. And the fact that it was actually accidentally made as a one-way is pretty nice. And the reason why we needed this differently is just mainly because of the fact that the you can't eject a piglin onto a fence gate or any mob for that matter, so it's not the best there. So unfortunately, you have to do it a bit of a manual way. It could have been done with a minecart. Definitely would have been helpful, but since because we need them on a fence gate for now, that way we can push them over onto the slab. Yeah, so there we go. So yeah, keep doing this. I'll be back once it's fully done and we can see it in action. Alright, so all of the piglins are in. They are perfectly aligned the way they should be, and there is exactly 256 of them. I mean, I can promise you there is. Right there, 256. We're not loading any other entities. On the top left here, you can see they're all good and in there. And yeah, so they're all chilling. It's time to test. All the filters are set. I brought over the extra boxes from the other overworld one, which is now completely destroyed. There is no mention of anything here about where that portal used to be. So we have everything over here all done and dusted. This is all the extra gold that we have to also barter if we want to. But we're going to just do one box for now to make sure that it's actually working. Throw one in there. I added these a couple extra chests there. We were going to originally try to sort everything, but especially if you want to sort the potions from the water bottles, from the boots, from the books, it gets pretty complicated, especially at this speed. If it was the old one, I feel like that's definitely manageable because there's only 60 piglins. This one has 256 of them, so it's a pretty big scale up, but obviously it is exponentially, not really exponentially, but about 4 times faster or so, you could say, which is really good because, you know, the old one used to take quite a while to go through all of the gold. This one, let's see how quick it gets through a single shulker box here. We have the lava bucket in that dispenser right there, which will instant unload. So the only bad thing about this one is obviously we lose shulker boxes, but with the new shulker factory, that's really not that big of a deal. These are very easy to come by. There we go. Just stand back here. That way I don't get in the way of anything. This is one batch of items right there. I didn't put the fire. We are going to have something here that would actually, you know, get rid of everything else. But yeah, that's one box gone. And just in that time, it rinsed through everything there, which is kind of ridiculous. Leather, we don't store. A little bit of an extra nether brick. It's kind of worrying. So you kind of want the nether brick stuff. No ender pearls, water bottles, fire res is nice, but I'll keep these soul speed books. These are actually pretty nice to have since we don't have anything. So yeah, I do kind of want to add like a little toggle here. It wouldn't be on the fire. We would have something that we would be able to basically turn this on and off. And that way you could, you know, toggle what you want to be destroyed. And then we can go from there. We could just choose to sit at the end of this and have it either on or off. And then we can also, like Rubik wants to get, is all these soul speed books. Really not too big of a deal. I'll just throw all those down to Rubik for right now. Way we can use those in the future, but yeah. Right now, this thing's all done. Do one more box here, that way we can actually watch it this time and see it in action. Gonna actually kickstart it again. So yeah, 256. Every time they pick up, it's 256 you know, 4 stacks, so it'll go through very, very quickly and destroy that box of items there. We're to pick up a little bit of stuff just to get a couple more books, probably. But yeah, this thing absolutely rinses through these shulker boxes of items. It is actually crazy how fast these 256 piglins go through all that. Boom, just like that. That's another box all done and dusted and bartered with. This would have taken our old system probably a few minutes to actually do that. So yeah, overall, lovely thing how this thing turned out. Of course, link in the video description to Carrie for the design of this. Very straightforward to make, bulk's pretty simple, all that kind of stuff. Huge thanks giving us a 1.17 version. That way we can actually build it in 1.17 because they designed it in a newer version like Manica that we weren't able to load, of course. So that's this whole gold area redone. At the bottom here, we did change all of this to black concrete. It was originally all jungle planks, which didn't look best. Now we have it all black concrete, which looks 100 times better. We finish off the gold redo project here. It looks absolutely amazing. And I'm very happy with how everything has turned out with the overworld processor there and the new barter station. We can get a heck of a lot of items from this. So we're probably going to run through all of these shulker boxes of blocks down here. That way we can get everything all set up, get in a bunch of quartz, all that good stuff that we actually care about. We actually are sorting fire charges. We did swap out the wool for fire charges, indicated by that magma block, and also the spectral arrows for the gold block right here. So those are the two things that we changed. So we changed the wool for fire charges and then the gravel for the spectral arrows. We have too much gravel. Make sure you like, subscribe, all sorts of things, and I'll see you in the next one.